Florida has always been a special place to me, and it is all the more so tonight. Our victory might not have reached landslide proportions, but it is sweet nonetheless.
John McCain saying a sweet victory for him. We have our panel with us, Eugene Robinson, Rachel Maddow, and Pat Buchanan. And joining us also is Michael Fontroy, who is of George Mason University and author of Republicans and the Black Vote. And George, thanks so much for joining us. We were talking earlier about the Democrats and which states are important to them. Where does Hillary Clinton need to do well on Super Tuesday 1 week from now?
Well, I think she's well positioned to make a real comeback here. She's currently leading in 4 of the 6 largest states going forward. So if she's able to do well and win California, New York, New Jersey, for example, I really think that she's back in the game and is able to sort of turn around the momentum that Obama clearly has at this point. He's doing very well in Georgia, likely to win Illinois as well. And so it seems to me that Hillary is poised to get back into the game.
Rachel, what about, though, what's going on and it's hard for everybody to remember this, but for the Democrats, it's proportional. And so it's not a winner-take-all in these states. So Barack Obama can come in second place and win in rural areas, or some of the states, it's by congressional district that they award delegates, and we could still have a very close delegate race.
We can have a very close delegate race, and the arcane rules of each state about how they're going to apportion those delegates proportionally are impossible to keep track of in your head and create an incredibly complex organizational challenge for the campaign in terms of targeting. I think the broad picture story that it tells to a campaign is that we've got to get a lot of free media. We've got to get a lot of national media coverage. We've got to count on reporters all over the country doing some of this work for us, because you can't plan an ad buy that'll allow you to reach every precinct in the nation unless it's on national TV.
Eugene Robinson, we've never seen anything like this. I mean, this is a fascinating election because we've got not a state race, but a delegate race. And Harold Ickes held a briefing for some reporters. He's with the Clinton campaign saying, don't you guys call it state wins here and there. It's about delegates in the future.
And if it's about delegates, you've got, two, and on the Democratic side, you've got these 2 big campaign organizations, 2 charismatic, attractive, energetic, and smart candidates, and they're going to rack up delegates. I mean, a win 51-49, in a state basically gives each the same number of delegates, and they both, at least for now, have enough money to keep going.
It makes John Edwards incredibly important, is what it does. It makes John Edwards, as long as he's in there and he's controlling some delegates, I know it's a cliche, but it does make him the kingmaker. It makes it very obvious why he's not getting out.
Well, he wants to be the kingmaker. I guess we'll see if he becomes the kingmaker. Michael, you wanted to jump in here?
Yeah, I really did want to re-emphasize the importance of Florida. For all the talk about how the National Party has slapped the state party down with regard to the change in the calendar, I really believe that ultimately the Florida delegates will be counted. I can't imagine that such an important state like Florida will be allowed to go by the wayside for November, because I can't imagine that Florida Democrats will be too excited about being involved in November if they get slapped around during the summer.
Oh, I agree. I think the Democratic Party had no choice. You had states out of control wanting to front load these primaries, and they wanted to impose some penalties, right?
But look, in the Republicans, what they did is they took away half the delegates in South Carolina, and they went ahead with it. They didn't insult the state by stripping of all its delegates, and they went ahead and let Michigan go ahead. And so I think the Republicans did the right thing, which is penalize them, but don't do something stupid. Michigan and Florida, 2 of the critical states, could go either way. I think the Democrats made a terrible mistake, and I think Hillary Clinton did a smart thing going down there.
Rachel made a really interesting point earlier while we were in the break, though, that a lot of Democrats in Florida may have felt disenfranchised, but that didn't affect how they voted today and turned out, right?
No, that's right. I was just doing a little kind of back-of-the-envelope calculation on what we know about turnout, and if you I think what we ended up with with was almost the same turnout for both Democrats and Republicans, about 1.7 million, 1.8 million between them. If Democrats are being told this doesn't count and they still turned out in those numbers, it's incredible. But there is one important contextual fact here, and that's that the Democratic Party in Florida was almost bankrupt really recently. They were literally selling off their office space in order to try to make good on their badly invested money. I mean, the Democratic Party in Florida has been in really bad straits, so they're going to need to be able to compete in the general, and they've got a lot against them.
They got some terrible news for Republicans in these races. Iowa had an all-time record turnout for Democrats, way above Republicans.
Yep.
Same thing true in New Hampshire, which is a swing state for Democrats.
Carolina.
Same thing in South Carolina, which is a Republican state.
Yep.
And now you get equal numbers in Florida when you had a terrific contest on the Republican side and Democrats didn't campaign. You had the same turnout. That points to a Democratic year, quite frankly, unless something goes horribly wrong, because with the economy and the war and the Democrats far more energized, you really got to give the Democratic Party odds-on favorites to take the White House.
Yeah, record turnout this year.
The Democratic Party is going to put a tag on that, run that as an ad this year.
It's Pat Buchanan in his first Democratic ad. I love it. You'll be raising money for the Democrats now. Michael Fontroy, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. And more with our wonderful panel coming up when we return. You are watching MSNBC's live coverage of the Florida primary.